All right. Hi, guys. Well, as promised, making the video on writing and to show you the difference between 5 and 6 or 7 and 8 or higher. All right. Before I'll give you any further explanation, I want you to have a look at this task one that I've actually recently done myself. Apparently, this is from Cambridge 20 test one, right? Pause the video. Analyze the chart for yourself. What's happening? What would be the main features for you? How you would group the data, etc. I mean, whatever you would do actually under exam conditions. All right. Now, if you have, well, here's a simpler version of the same chart apparently. So whichever is easier, more helpful. But I use this one for sure. Under exam conditions, I had this one. I mean, under mock exam conditions. Let me clarify. Okay. You might want to read this also later. This is what I produce under exam conditions. But we're gonna discuss actually from the beginning the important things. And the first thing, obviously, when you have a chart like that, is to plan, right? I mean, this is one critical step that many people skip, especially those that are at 5, 6. I mean, what are they doing when they plan? Either there's no plan at all, they think that they're gonna plan it in their heads, like whatever, or they have something like this, but is that really a plan? You tell me, guys. Like introduction, I'm just going to paraphrase the topic. Overall, I'm going to mention main feature like population increase dramatic and body paragraphs for details. That is not a plan. Seriously, that's why people might be getting just 5 in their writing or less than that even. Because plan should give you clarity. It should tell you what you're gonna do. I mean, it should be helpful, but I don't find this helpful one bit. We're not planning at all. All right, so what a good plan looks like. It looks like that. I personally do it like this. So I look at the topic, I write it down for myself. Well, what are we talking about? And if I have that clarity, then I have a better understanding of writing it better later. So here we're talking about total population of New York City. Okay, and how that changed over time. Okay. We could actually put it together into one sentence, yeah? Like how total population of New York City changed over time. Boom, there you go. Your intro is already ready. And this clarity will also help you pick up the right language as you go along, because you really understand it. You not be looking for different paraphrases of total population, total population. What else I can say? Total population, complete population, overall population. That's not how you're gonna write it. And then I look at the overall, like what are the main features? I need to actually be able to write 2 sentences down like that, at least 2 points that are essential, about the chart. So one thing I noticed, well, we had 3 charts. So we want to summarize something about each one. So here I have total population increase dramatically. Okay, total population increase. Also, at the beginning, most people lived here, but later they started living there. There was that contrast. So it was quite clear. So I have that. Now, tell me, how easy would it be for you to write it into sentences? Now, once you have a complete idea, this is a complete idea. All you have to do now is to put them into grammatically correct sentences and connect them in a way you know. Here I have connectors like also or but, so you can use these or something else. I have referencing like they, most people, in other, whatever. So that's it. I mean, this is like half ready job already right there. All right, next thing I plan is how to organize the data. Like how many paragraphs am I going to have? What exactly I'm writing in each paragraph. So I plan all of that as well. So I don't leave anything up to chance. I don't want to think about it later. I want to make it ready right while I'm planning. So once I start writing, while I'm in the process, I don't want to think about what should I do? How should I, where it should be? What am I actually trying to say about that? Like I don't want that because then it will interrupt me while I'm writing and it will affect my writing. So I have here for New York City, Manhattan, and other boroughs. But you could probably organize it in other ways. Like maybe you could write just 2 body paragraphs or 3. You could compare this together. You could write this separately, or you could put this together if you want. I mean, there are possibly several different options. There's no single one way. But I decided to go with this because it felt easier for me. And you can write like that, whichever is convenient and easy, because the most important thing is you compare contrast, you mention some details, you organize it in a logical way. And there are a lot of ways to do that. So there's not a single way. Okay. And I'm going to show you this, people. This is a brilliant thing. I mean, more detailed plan for a better understanding, but at the same time, this is like a great trick. You could actually look at this. I mean, this is what's actually going on. You see on paper, like I plan on paper, even when I'm taking the CD test, I plan it like that. But what you will, like, if you could listen to me, what's going on in my head, this is what's going on in my head. When I just write down like New York City, or when I analyze the chart, I'm telling myself, all right, it was just 80, but then sourced to 3 and then 8 million in the last, like, this is what I'm literally saying in my head to myself. I keep it simple, clear, and short. But when I start writing, I am putting these nicer, like, I mean, these simple ideas into just grammatically complete sentences. I can use something more advanced, like, if I feel like it. But this is what I have already in my mind, or this is how I think at first. I think in simple terms before I start writing, or I write the sentences. I need to have clarity. If I don't know, if I have like, okay, I'm gonna write another sentence. Okay, what am I gonna say? First, I should think about that, and then, all right, how I'm gonna say it. This is where probably so many people write, erase because they're not thinking. I mean, that could happen to me as well if I don't have a clear understanding of it. And when I realize that I'm doing this a lot, I stop myself and I look at my plan and I tell myself, like, can you just speak about what you have here? Like what you were thinking about? Just tell me like two ideas right here. I'll be like, oh, right. So here are the two ideas, other borrows initially were like that, but then this is what happened and this is what happened. All right, that's it. Like, again, halfway through there, all I need to do is just put it into sentences. Super cool. And if you like, before going any further or afterwards, you could just look at this plan and challenge yourself to write a report based on this. Like, read this and put it into sentences, like using the language you do know. Tell me how easy that would be for you. Anyways, okay, moving on to the next. Now, at level 5 or less, this is what the writing might look like. Okay, this is just one possibility. As you can see, it's first of all fewer words than necessary, right? We need 150 words at least, but here we have 99 words. And why do we have 99 words? The candidate who writes like that might say, well, I didn't have enough time, or I didn't know a lot of words. But is the problem really not knowing a lot of words? If you look at it here, introduction might be fine, the table provide information. Okay, we have some bunch of mistakes here, but look at the overall, how short it is, right? You see, this happens when you don't have a good plan. Ideas are not captured. And in the body paragraphs, you see how short they are. They're not developed. Maybe a bunch of details are missing as well. Or this one here, like, what is this doing here? Other district, rise, okay, 81, it was this. Like, you see, incomplete, right? That's the problem. And if we plan a little bit better and we know what we're saying and how we should say it, then this would not be a problem, really. I mean, at least we could increase the word count. Yeah, bunch of mistakes for sure. Okay, so here you can read in more detail what's what. I mean, what's good about this writing or such writings in general, like why it might get, 5 at least. I mean, that's a good score too, in some way, for some people who won't be able to write it all. They will look at 5 and say, well, that's a great score. And I know some people are happy with just 5.5. It's enough for them. So why not? All right. If you're new completely and you would need to learn at least how to write at level, like at a lower level like that, this is what you want to do. So you want to have a clear structure. Yeah. Clear structure means you have introduction. Do you have the overall statement? Do you have the body paragraphs? And that's all going to be good for cohesion and coherence. How about the topic? Is it clear? What about the main ideas? Are they clear? Somewhat clear. So we have here changes in other district. Oh, this is not quite clear, honestly, because you see changes in Manhattan. What change are we talking about? Architecture, infrastructure, budget, people, sales, what? Oh, here we have total population that increased dramatically. Okay, total population. So now we kind of get that clarity, right? How many people they were, and that this number grows significant or dramatic. 76 people live in Manhattan. The other district, then population increase, you know? So we have some clarity of the topic, so that's nice, yeah. And there are some supporting details, are there? Let's see. We have some numbers, where this is happening. So, you know, there is some detail. So, okay, what else is good? There's some task one language there. At least there's attempt, like rise in population, percent. Okay, it's just okay. Decline. We have nice vocab. Despite, it's like CC and grammar. Increase in. So we have some topic, you know, task one vocabulary and language there. But it's too short. Weak overview, too many language problems, and not enough CC, linking words, referencing tools. And probably the author did not proofread, or maybe they didn't know any better. So depends. Either way, this writing is going to get 5.5. Okay, now let's look at what it looks like at a band 6. You see, we already have a little bit more, so you're giving the examiner a little bit of language so they can assess you, and that definitely boosts your score if that language is done well. And I think we have here, you know, a little bit of sophistication than the previous one. So table provide. Okay, so we have some mistakes, but demographical changes. Okay, so there's a little bit of attempt. So you see, we have that clarity, better clarity. Overall, we have it. So let's see. Um, Another thing you notice at levels like 6.5, especially, it's like this language, fancy language that I call it, you know, where the author focuses more on fancy language to impress the examiner, but because of their low level of English, actually, they can't really fool the examiners, you know. Fancy language is great when your general English is actually at that high level, because then you will know how to use those fancy words correctly or expressions correctly. But when your grammar is really low, but you learn some fancy expressions and you try to sprinkle around your writing, you place them in the wrong place or you say the wrong part of it, or you know, errors happen. Like, what is that? It's very clear from an overall perspective. Maybe we're missing like that. So this is one of those things. And level 6.5 are actually, um, yeah, they have a lot of such expressions that are not used correctly. Probably you'll see a lot of that here as well. Let's see the total population quantity. You see, like there's that emphasis on paraphrases, synonyms. You'll see this a lot at a high level, real high level. That it's not going to happen like that. While majority resided, later this was reversed. Like this is a memorized expression. This was reversed. What's the meaning of that? Like how it can be reversed? Minority lived in Manhattan? I don't know. In terms of this, there was after T, this face it a fantastic girl. Like, look at this one, for example. Face it is probably they thought as a synonym for experience, but is it? Not really, because face is used with challenges, difficulties that people experience. So you do not say, like, I faced an opportunity. No, I faced challenges. So, yeah, this would be incorrect usage here as well. But we have residencies. You see, like we have synonyms for people, but then inaccurate synonyms, yeah. With respect to, I mean, we have again something nicer in terms of referencing words like regarding, with respect to, in terms of, like something that we did not see earlier at a low level. I feel like there wasn't any at all. Here we have them, but not quite accurate. So improving these and using them correctly would definitely help, right? It would show the examiner that, hey, I know some linking words and that will help. But granted, again, that they're used correctly. So we have somewhat like, a bit of naturalness here, these numbers. So we have some referencing. So it is a little bit better than they. They is referring to something plural, I guess, I hope. Well, we still have a bunch of grammar mistakes, though. You see, like vocab might seem like higher, but grammar is giving it away, right? Whipping, kind of interesting vocabulary word choice here in this context for this level of writing, but actually a bit informal word to use. Complete inhabitant amount. I mean, this is just unacceptable, really. We understand what the author wants to say, right? Like total population numbers, but you got it. So what's good? Sufficient words, yes. Still good structure. A little bit clearer, a little bit more than the previous one. More language and more succinct, definitely. So in that way, this is better. But overview could be improved, could be made clear, developed. Too many details, sometimes inaccurate. Oh yeah, all right, let's check that. Probably a wrong writing of the numbers, first of all. That's going to be part of the grammar. And wrong numbers. So you notice more errors in numbers, like just more, just too many numbers sometimes, yeah. Okay. What else? Too many grammar, language, punctuation problems, typos. Yeah, you see, like punctuation is missing here and here, for example. I mean, that will be part of the mistake for sure. Punctuations matter. Attempts at fancy but wrong inappropriate language chunks. Now that will definitely be a signal, a red flag to the examiner. This candidate is not worth it. I mean, well, it's not gonna get a good score, so keep reading, the next one for a higher score. It will be like that. So that's why this writing gets a band 6. So so far, because these writings are so common, and if we look at 4 areas, yeah, like task achievement, cohesion coherence, lexical resource, and grammar range and accuracy. So at a low level, people are making mistakes in all of these. What is the problem with task achievement, right? It is not having good overview and not writing enough words and skipping some details. I've seen some writers with no detail at all because they didn't know or they forgot, whatever, but body paragraphs have no details at all. And then overall has details. So this is how they mess it up in task achievement. Or we don't understand the topic because the language problems are so present everywhere that we do not understand what's really happening. Or the author forgets to mention the topic words like total population figures. All right, and misrepresenting the numbers. These are the problems in task achievement. And cohesion coherence is not organizing, first of all, the chart properly in that logical order and not organizing it and making it easier for the reader to follow. So that's where we need some linking words. That's where we need introductory phrases, or that's where we need referencing tools so we don't repeat ourselves and we link ideas better by saying that number or this decrease was followed by, etc. Another problem is probably overusing linking words. Like every sentence begins with a linking word. That's also mechanical and not good. It decreases the score. Or not using them at all, just completely forgetting any linking word whatsoever. So these are the areas. Now, these two, I believe, do not actually depend on your language skills that much. You would have great language skills and still mess up here or forget about this entirely, or you focus too much on the language because your language skills are actually good. You didn't know about these two and how significant they were or what they actually were. So if I put it in simple terms, task achievement is, are you getting the task right? Are you comparing, contrasting? Are you summarizing it and supporting it with some detail? And are you writing at least 150 words? Because that was a task, right? Did you accomplish the task? Did you achieve it? Like, I don't care how grammatically correct your writing is, or I don't care how rich your vocabulary is. Just did you get the job done? You know? And coherence is, did you connect everything well? Did you organize it well, that report and your summary? So I can know where's your summary, where's your intro, and where's your body paragraphs. Like, would I be able to understand that from your writing? Then you're doing good. Now, lexical resource, just correct and appropriate language, like, grammar, vocabulary, same category for me, really. Okay, now let's look at 7. Right away, you can probably understand that we have fewer issues here. We address some of the issues from level 6 to make it already level 7. And I want you to just go ahead and pause the video and read it for yourself. Just see how you feel about this. Do you feel a little bit better reading this as an examiner? It should make it easier for you. You know, you understand things better. There is sufficient data to support. So you can imagine the diagram or the chart for yourself. And there's good enough language to help you see the variety, yeah, to see the language skills of the writer. Okay, if you have, so let's see. Introduction, demographic changes. There you go, not demographical, right? So it's a little bit more accurate. Very similar to the previous one in some way, but more accurate. Okay, overall total population figures skyrocketed. So clear, right? Sharper and clear overview. While the majority used there, the situation changed and most living in other districts. Grammatically not accurate, but meaning is so clear. You see, this one is clearer than this one. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you need for 7. So in many ways, we keep saying like communication matters. Communication matters in writing and speaking in IELTS, but everywhere, obviously, but especially because many people think that when they think about IELTS writing, they think about vocabulary, synonyms, etc. But at the very core, it's communication. The clearer you explain things, the better your writing or your scores are. But to be able to communicate clearly, you need to understand what you're doing yourself well. When you don't have that clarity, it's hard to explain it to somebody, you know? So this is what seems like it's happening. The author understood the main point. So I feel like, okay, because of the grammar, the candidate is losing a point. But this one, in terms of task achievement, is very, very good. I love it. Quotient coherence wise is pretty good. Let's see. We have overall, which is part of CC, while, and the situation. That's also kind of referencing because you know which situation, like where most people lived, that most were living in other districts. So quotient coherence is pretty clear. It's just the only problem is grammar, really. If we fix the grammar first, like then we could think about how to make it even more sophisticated with vocabulary. But otherwise, I will just take it. I'll take it for 7 or higher just to improve the mistakes. But for now, 7 is pretty good for this writing, really. Okay, then next, total population. Again, grammar mistakes are as you see. If we fix these, this would be definitely a little bit better already than 7, like 7.5. Even 8 is possible if we just fix the problems. Sometimes what you need to do to improve your writing is not like adding more stuff and making things complicated, like learning a bunch of phrases. No, what you need is just, can you fix the problems that you have in your writing? What kind of mistakes you're making? Just fix them, and that's it. And I'm sure if you really write at this level, like if that's your level, you would know how to correct these mistakes. At least you would know. But you need to know that you're making grammar mistakes and you should have time to correct them, right? If you can write like that under 15 minutes, ideally, then 5 minutes should be spent checking your grammar mistakes and fixing. Okay, after choosing with this sort, so we have, like you see, however, out of this, whoa, this is such a nice referencing tool to the previous one. Majority, nonetheless, as time passed, the percent declined despite this increase. I love it. Okay, this part is not quite clear, and you will understand that when you compare that with a better level of writing, but this part is not quite clear where the increase is happening. As the trend, okay, there's a mistake again, but I like how smooth it is introducing this, and then linking it to the previous one. So I love it. The other borrowers experience it. Okay, so we have wrong word choices here, or grammar. The distribution of population, nice, and numbers accounted for. So we have something fancier here, but also a bunch of mistakes. So could be improved. Yeah, data description. Language could be improved, made smoother. And there are definitely some grammar mistakes. But in so many ways, this is definitely better than the previous one, right? In what way it's better? In terms of task achievement. There's, and language, there's more than the previous one. All right. At a higher level, like here, we this one is without those mistakes. Well, at least some of those mistakes have been actually fixed here, right? The majority with the most living. So pause the video and read for yourself so you can see the difference. I'm not going to go into the detail right now because it's going to be a very long video. We don't want that. So this one, you see task achievement and coherence. What we did is just fix the referencing tools and some errors, but vocabulary could be improved. That's why it's 7 plus. And grammar, there are some inaccuracies or smoother ways to write it. So just some of the mistakes are fixed here than this one. And some clarity has been made, just a little bit. So this is how we're already looking at higher score. Read it and see if you can tell for yourself. So these two are definitely better. And these areas could use some improvement or corrections. And at 8 or higher, you see, this writing is the same in terms of task achievement and coherence, like nothing changed, but we improved here, right? A little bit of accurate vocabulary, mistakes. Like if you notice, one mistake that was still present here is the New York City. The New York City. That's a mistake. It's New York City without the article. Stuff like that. Or here, that's what we're talking about, like that clarity. As time passed, this percentage declined significantly, despite this increase in Manhattan's population. See, that's the clarity. Compare this with the low level, and you will see what I'm talking about. So we have some improvements in grammar, and that's why, or this is how that same writing could be improved to overall 8, solid 8, or even higher, right there already. And the perfect one, where we have task achievement, pretty much the same. CC. Well, it's just a little bit of variety there, but otherwise the same. But notice the language, this level of sophistication. Now, I hope that you guys will not look at this highlighted language here and start copying them everywhere you can. You need to understand that this kind of level of sophistication will work only if your grammar is already high. Only if your task achievement in this already high. Otherwise, it's not going to work so much, really, because then you won't be able to communicate the main ideas. But read this and then tell me how sophisticated this one is. Yeah, like how beautiful the language is. This is what I would aim myself for. But before I can aim for this kind of writing, I want to be able to write like this. Okay, so anyone, if you're stuck at, say, 6, learn to write at level like this first. All right, you should understand why you are stuck at the score and how you can get there. Don't try to aim for this one because it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. We improve by, like steps. Like you can't skip a step, right? You can't, not in language learning, at least. You can skip only when you really know it. And when you don't, you can't skip a step. You shouldn't. Okay. So I would aim for this kind of writing under exam conditions. Once I got it, then I'll challenge myself for this kind of writing. I can make some notes, I can write these down and start thinking about how else I can apply this language or something similar in like many different ways. For example, underwent a dramatic population expansion. Now, this is a great expression and you can use it in so many ways. You can use it any other time when you have movement data and say, like, this company underwent a dramatic expansion in its sales. Or house, oh, I love this vocabulary, house the vast majority of residents. You could use that whenever you're describing a map, for example, like this location housed the vast majority of changes or facilities. Great way to use that language. Population had become significantly more dispersed. Okay, this one is very specific when we talk about spread of things, right? This language is really nice. So this is how you can learn, analyze language chunks, and start applying them in your writing. But only after, I repeat, only after you have this. This too should be always your priority. This should never be your priority unless you already have this one. Without it, we'll have this classic high-level candidates with 60.5 in writing because they forget about this. The language is not so much of a problem. These two are. All right. Well, I hope you understand the difference. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you, and good luck with your task one writing progress.